Okay, Ryan, time to be serious, right? Okay. Okay, Ryan, I need you to sit over there. Okay, if you look at verse number 47, what does it say?
We constructed the universe with power and we are expanding it.
Okay, so the Quran 1,400 years said, Allah said, I with my gentle hands and my gentle power created the universe, and we are what? Expanding it. So what happened with the scientists? Now let me share this with you very quickly. You'll see. We'll be sure of one thing, you were not one of them. All right.
The Okavango Delta is a water wonderland. Now, it appears and National Geographic will work together to help secure protection for the source waters to one of the planet's greatest natural wonders.
Ryan, what did I say? Go over there. Every time you talk one word, just
the universe is getting bigger every day.
Farther, okay?
And what we understand now is that the amount it's getting bigger is getting bigger every day. The expansion
of the universe is accelerating. When you lie, your nose gets longer. So every time you talk, you're
ironically what this means is that as time goes on, even though the universe is getting bigger,
and then next time
we see less of it.
Okay, just go over there.
How is the universe getting bigger?
All right, guys.
Finding the answer.
The universe is getting bigger.
Okay, enough. The universe, the Quran said, is what?
Expanding.
Expanding. Now, please listen to what is being said here.
Every day. And what we understand now is that the amount it's getting bigger is getting bigger every day. The expansion of the universe is accelerating.
Now, when the Quran says the universe is expanding, I'll tell you why this is a problem. Okay? This is a problem because if I shoot a bullet, right? What is supposed to happen to the bullet? Okay, now you can go 1 minute farther, please. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So if I shoot a bullet, is
what this means is that as time goes on, even though
and the sky, we have created it, the universe, we created it, and we're expanding. If I shoot a bullet, is it going to be faster in the beginning or at the end? At the beginning, right? And then as it gets farther and farther, the bullet's supposed to get what? Slow down. That's not happening with the universe. We know the universe is expanding faster and faster and faster, and the scientists don't know why. The Quran tells us it is happening. Okay, so Allah said, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا, and the sky and the universe, meaning the sky is the universe, and the sky, when Allah says sky in the singular, sometimes Allah means the whole universe, and when Allah says sky in the singular, sometimes He means this sky of ours. Okay, so, but Allah said, and the universe, we are what? Expanding it, expanding it, expanding it. Now, this is what the scientists, they say about that. And then I'm going to show you something that's going to really like.
Though the universe is getting bigger, we see less of it.
Not only is it getting bigger, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, faster and faster every day. Okay, now there is a scientific problem to that, but there's also a philosophical problem to that. The scientific problem to that is, okay. The scientific problem to that is that how can the universe be getting bigger and bigger, right? The philosophical problem to that is, if this universe is this universe and it's getting bigger, what is it getting bigger into? What is this universe getting bigger into? If this universe has space and 3-dimension and time, that means obviously what is outside the universe does not have time, does not have 3 dimensions. And so if the universe is the universe and is expanding into something that's not the universe, how is the universe expanding into something that's not the universe? Okay, so but Allah said we're doing this, we're doing it, and now we know through observation the universe is in fact becoming bigger and bigger, faster and faster.
So the whole entire universe, all that black.
Now watch.
How is the universe getting bigger? finding the answer has become one of the greatest quests in modern science.
Just a few years ago, we were trying to measure how much the universe is slowing down over time. It makes sense, right? An explosion happened a long time ago, the Big Bang.
Whether the Big Bang happened as scientists see it or as how the Quran describes it is not the subject right now. But if something is smaller and if smaller before and it's getting bigger and bigger and faster, that's why they say it was a Big Bang. But the point is, Allah said be, and then from there it started to become. And the universe is expanding. Okay, now
Scientists assumed the Big Bang would slow down and gravity would pull things back together.
so scientists in the 1970s and 1960s, they were looking at the universe and they're like, obviously the universe is expanding and slowly it will what? Slow. But what's happening? The opposite is happening.
But that's not what they were seeing in the cosmos.
Astronomers think that the universe appears to be expanding at an accelerating rate.
Accelerating rate means what? Faster and faster and faster. So the universe is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you knew Arabic, when you look at this verse of the Quran, by the way, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, وَإِنَّا لَمُوسِعُونَ is actually showing, the verse itself is showing, and we are expanding it. Even in the English translation, it says expanding it, but it's also showing it's expanding more and more and more. Expanding it. We're making the universe bigger and bigger. Allah is Al-Khaliq. He's the creator. This is what he does. He creates, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expanding the what? Universe. Now you think this is a miracle of Quran, where Quran talks about this. I'm going to show you two more things that relate to this, that one of them you might be able to get. What grade are you guys? Eighth grade, right? I think you might get part of the other part, but there's one part that is going to blow your mind completely. And then we're going to end by listening to this surah if we have enough time. Okay, so now let's go back to what this person's saying. No, what is being said here.
We have no idea what's causing this. So I'll let you in on a secret here. Whenever astronomers don't know something, they tend to say dark energy.
Well, they'll say dark or black, like black hole. We don't know what's happening in it. Yes, go. Ryan, are you sure you don't want to talk? Yeah, because then I'll put you further behind if you talk. Then you can talk to yourself and no one will hear you. Okay, just, it's good you haven't talked. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Yeah. So now, because you haven't talked, can you come 1 foot closer? You know, it's like the Pinocchio, when the Pinocchio tells the truth, the nose gets back smaller. Yeah, so now you can come 1 foot closer. Okay, that's good. Okay, all right. All right, guys. So the universe is expanding and an alarm. What? You just said a word. Go back.
Even though scientists
No,
are
no,
baffled,
go back.
they know this thing called dark energy makes up 70% of what's out
The dark energy makes 70% of what's out there. That means, in other words, dark energy is what they say, or dark or black hole is the word they use for when they don't know what it is. And even the scientists just said it. When they say dark, they mean what? They don't know what it is. So there is some force out there that they don't know what it is that's affecting this universe. Yeah, or angels or Allah, or you know, something of the unknown world. And so when they don't understand something, they just say black, right? Because black hole means you can't see the light, you can't see it, can't observe it, can't measure it, can't identify it. No way of knowing what really it's about.
It's there.
It's just there, right? And we know its effect, we know it exists because of its effect. Okay, now the universe is expanding, so listen now.
there in the cosmos. It's stronger than gravity, and may eventually be stronger than the forces that hold atoms together.
My body is held together by the electromagnetism in my atoms. But what if the expansion of space increases and accelerates, and it even overcomes those forces? Astronomers are calling that the Big Rip. And although we don't know this will happen, it's a possibility that eventually the expansion will get strong enough to rip apart atoms, to rip apart our very bodies. Even matter will fly apart.
It's kind of like if you have two magnets and they can feel each other's force, and then you put it farther and farther apart to the point where the magnets don't feel each other, and then it just falls apart. Get it? So that's what we have. Electrons are negative, protons are positive. They're pulling each other. They're like, well, I'm coming to that. I'm going to talk about the horn exactly. You'll see how it relates to this whole issue. If you just give me a few minutes. Okay, now watch this.
One way to wrap our brains around the expanding
One way to
universe of the Big
understand
Bang
the
is
expansion of the universe is by a rope and like galaxies pulling on a rope, and you'll see what I mean.
to use an analogy. For instance, tennis balls on a piece of elastic. Here, each tennis ball represents a galaxy. So this one could be our own Milky Way galaxy. And the elastic is space itself. Now, since we know the universe is expanding, it's like taking this elastic and stretching it. Now, as the elastic expands, the galaxies start to spread out and get more and more remote from one another. So our simple model of the universe with tennis...
Now, what's interesting, okay, is what? This surah, the same surah says what? You know, the universe is holding everything together like a fabric, like a string, right? Everything is tied together through the pull of gravity, through the pull of electromagnetic energy. So the same surah that says we're expanding the universe, does the surah say this? And does human beings say that, yes, the universe is expanding? This same surah says what? وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْحُبُكِ. Hubuk means rope. And by the sky that is full of strings. And by the sky that is full of ropes. And when these ropes are going to get stretched and stretched, something's going to happen. Or they may not, they may contract, they may stretch. We don't know. I mean, Allah knows best. But Allah did say the sky is like a fabric of strings interwoven into each other. Different strings tied into one another. And the way the modern physicist understands the world today is very much like this is all strings attaching the universe, what? Together. And as the universe is expanding, it is going to do what? It is expanding. What it will do, I'll talk about in a little bit. Okay, so let's just listen to this, and then we have to watch one more video on
tennis balls and elastic literally breaks down if we try to apply it to one ruled by dark energy. Because if we're trying to show a universe in which the rate of expansion between the galaxies is actually accelerating over time, our elastic would have to stretch infinitely far, and we would have to run away from each other infinitely fast. Now, we can't do that with a simple model. And that, in a way, is an example of just how bizarre a dark energy-dominated universe could be.
this is how bizarre it can be. Okay, let me share this with you. According to quantum physics, the same atom can be in more than one place at the same time. It cannot happen in Newtonian physics, which is the world that we live in, right? If there's this book here, it can only be here. But what we know through observation is the principle of quantum physics mechanics suggests that particles can exist in two separate locations at once. Physicists from Stanford University have now demonstrated the superposition of a group of atoms over a greater distance than ever before, 54 centimeters. So they knew an atom is over here and 54 centimeters, the same atom is over there. So the same atom is in two different places at the same time. I'm going to come back to this idea that the Quran says we're expanding the universe, and the same surah says that the universe is full of strings and ropes, which comes to us brings us to what we call the string theory. Now, I'm not going to talk much about it because I want to show you how much time do I have left for this class?
Yeah, you have 20, like 16 minutes.
This fact is so important that it has a name. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The basis we cannot know where a particle is and wants more energy. Try to solve that the electromagnetic.
So what does this world what does it mean? So we don't know what it means because only Allah knows what He said means. But It's a sign. You could say it's a sign. It's something leading somewhere. It's, you know, a sign. You follow directions with the sign. So it's taking us somewhere in the right direction, hopefully, inshallah. Okay?
Magnetic waves we use to see are too big to touch them. Visible light just passes over them. We can try to solve this by creating electromagnetic waves with more and much smaller wavelengths. But in quantum physics, shorter wavelengths means more energy. So when we touch a particle with a wave that has a lot of energy, it gets a kick. By looking at a particle, we change it. In quantum physics, we cannot know where a particle is and where it's going with absolute precision. This fact is so important that it has a name: the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, the basis of all quantum physics. So what does a particle look like then? What is its nature? We don't know. If we look really hard, we can see a blurry sphere of influence, but not the particles themselves. We just know they exist. But if that's the case, how can we do any science with them? We did what humans do and invented a new story, a mathematical fiction. The story of the point particle. We decided that we would pretend that a particle is a point in space. Any electron is a point with a certain electric charge and a certain mass, all indistinguishable from each other. This way, physicists could define them and calculate all of their interactions. This can be made precise in quantum field theory, and this solved a lot of problems. All of the standard model of particle physics is built on it, and it predicts lots of things very well. Some quantum properties of the electron, for example, have been tested and are accurate up to 0.000000000002%. So while particles are not really points, by treating them as if they were, we get a pretty good picture of the universe. Not only did this idea advance science, it also led to a lot of real-world technology we use every day. But there's a huge problem: gravity. In quantum mechanics, all physical forces are carried by certain particles. But according to Einstein's general relativity, gravity is not a force like the others in the universe. If the universe is a play, particles are the actors, but gravity is the stage. To put it simply, gravity is a theory of geometry, the geometry of space-time itself, of distances which we need to describe with absolute precision. But since there is no way to precisely measure things in the quantum world, our story of gravity doesn't work with our story of quantum physics. When physicists tried to add gravity to the story by inventing a new particle, their mathematics broke down. And this is a big problem. If we could marry gravity to quantum physics and the standard model,
I'm Dr. Jeff Vinegar, and today
you'll see the exciting part.
Science behind balanced and unbalanced forces.
we would have the theory of everything. So very smart people came up with a new story. They asked, what is more complex than a point? A line or a string? String theory was born. What makes string theory so elegant is that it describes many different elementary particles as different modes of vibration of the string. Just like a violin string vibrating differently can give you a lot of different notes, a string can give you different.
So the universe is different wavelengths of different energies acting together. But they are like a string in a sense that they're connected to one another. One point is connected to another point, and there's energy from one point to another point. So the whole universe is like a fabric that's woven, a string that's woven. Get it? Okay. This string, this woven, this universe is then expanding. Right? Okay. So we get that from the Quran also. Now, these things may not be 100% exact again, but they are pointing to something. So Allah said, وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْحُبُكِ, and by the sky that is full of strings. Number one. And number two, and more importantly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as you'll see, وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا, and the sky we created it and we are expanding it. So Allah is expanding the universe. We don't know why the universe is expanding. We don't even know where it's expanding into, because if the universe is three-dimensional, then it is expanding into something that's not three-dimensional. If this universe has time and space, it's expanding into something that does not exist. If it existed, it would be part of space. As we know or define the word existence,
That means there's other things out there that we don't
Well, then obviously there has to be something we don't know.
We should go explore.
Now, what's interesting is this. Now, this is the point that I wanted to end my class with you guys, but we're going to also listen to the recitation of this surah, and then I'm going to take your comments on what you think. Hello, Ryan. Why are you over here? Please go back to your seats. Okay, yes, you were quiet. That's true. Okay. All right. So, but the minute you talk, like Pinocchio, we put you farther away, okay? Okay, just... All right, now, the universe is expanding. Now, the Quran also says in the Day of Judgment, we're going to blow what? The horn. We're going to blow the horn. Now, again, or we're going to blow the universe. When وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ, we're going to blow the horn, right? وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ, we're going to blow the horn, okay? Now, what is interesting, according to the latest information we have, again, this is just a sign, not exact information, but it seems to be pointing to the correct direction. And that is that as this horn that will be blown into also seems to be what? It also seems to be the shape of the universe.
That's the horn?
I don't know if that's the horn. I'm only saying that it is interesting. The shape of the universe is the shape of what is called a medieval horn. And so as the universe is expanding, you see this end part where the bigger part is and the smaller part. The end part is becoming bigger and bigger, longer and longer. The trumpet is becoming longer. Like I was talking about Pinocchio's nose becoming bigger when you lie. Right. Well, at every moment, the trumpet is becoming what? Bigger and bigger. And bigger.
Once it becomes so big, that means the trumpet is
then at some point, it is possible. We cannot say this is not our iman or our aqidah, but it's enough to increase your iman, and it's enough to verify something as true, which is that once this trumpet becomes at a certain size, that is the moment where Israfil is going to what? Blow the trumpet. Okay, so now, so وَإِذَا نُقِرَ فِي النَّاقُورِ, and when we blow into the trumpet, after all, you do have to think about one thing which comes to my mind in this regard, which is that, why did Allah use the word trumpet? Isn't trumpet like not allowed in the deen, right? So is it talking about like an instrument, the trumpet, or is it actually talking about the shape of, because nuqira and sur also refers to, specifically in the definition of the word sur, and in the definition of naqud is referring to the shape of something, meaning something that's hollow in the inside. So the literal meaning of the verse would be, and when that thing is blown into, which is hollow in the inside. That's the literal meaning of it. And now when we're looking at the universe, we're seeing, it's interesting at least, the shape of the universe is also in the shape of a horn, okay? It's also interesting, the universe is all connected through strings, so to say. And it is also interesting, the universe is getting what? Bigger. Okay, now you can go 1 feet back. Okay, half a feet. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Ryan, I like you so much. You're like so cool. You're like one of the coolest kids in this school. Just as long as every time you talk, you keep going 1 feet back, we're good. So you can like punish yourself. Every time you see yourself talk, just push yourself back. Right? Just every time push yourself back.
What did he say? Kids remind me of my childhood. Yeah. Oh, is she calling me kid?
Have a seat. Okay. So now.
What? Mom.
Okay. Let's see now. Let's go back. So the shape of the universe is like a trumpet. The universe is expanding. The universe, according to Quran, is like ropes, or it is full of ropes. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْحُبُكِ. Now I'm going to ask you, and this is my main question. Okay, Ryan, that's another 1 feet back, please. Thank you very much. Every time you talk, you have to go 1 feet back. I don't care. You can be outside the masjid.
You're so cool. You can leave.
Keep talking, and then you'll be out. No, you're doing good. You're doing good. I know you can't help it. I know you can't help it. All right, so Bismillah. The shape of the universe is like the shape of a trumpet. Now, I need you to be serious for 2 minutes, okay? Because I need to make a point here. Okay, now 1 feet back more, please. Think. In fact, you know, why don't you go into the beyond the curtain and sit there? Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Can you hear me? Because I want you to still be in class. I want you to still be in class, okay? Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. Okay, 1 more feet. No, 1 more feet. Okay, you're good now. All right, guys. So the Quran says the universe is expanding. Bismillah, right? It's okay. Just ignore it. You guys can now ignore it. Okay, he's too far away. Ubamu says you're never too far away. So I'm going to show to him that he's wrong. Go behind the curtain and just do it. No, behind the curtain. Behind the curtain. Yep. Okay. Now I can't see you behind the curtain. You're good. Now sit down, please. All right. Make sure you say something. Make sure you say something so I know you're behind the curtain and not running away. Okay. All right. Bismillah. Now, let's end on a serious note, okay? And then I want us to hear the recitation of the surah. Okay, this is my last. Ryan, my last 5 minutes in your class. He just can't help it, can he? By the way, guys, he's the funniest kid in the whole school. He just can't help it. Just can't. And so while other teachers get very upset, I just you have to go slowly. All right. So the universe. So now, when the universe is expanding, okay, it is a sign that's given in the Quran. Universe is expanding, and when the universe is expanding, and the universe is in the shape of a horn, and the universe is full of strings, as the Quran says, that should make you go, wow, like that's amazing. More amazing than Ryan. Okay? Let's put it that way. How is it that you're able to cause problems behind a curtain? All right. How much time do we have left? Okay, now I want you to hear this. This is my favorite recitation of this surah. Surah.
Very funny. Very, very funny. ये क्या करिए?
This is an awesome surah.
Yeah, right. You want some company?
Brothers and sisters, we have begun the framing for the largest Islamic center in New York City, and we need your help to finish by donating a framing.
Okay, listen up. please read the translation as it goes by. Yeah, this guy's, I just love his translation. I mean, his recitation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذاريات ذروا فالحاملات وقرا فالجاريات يسرا فالمقسمات أمرا إنما توعدون لصادق.
What is it that they're being promised? The day of judgment. And it is this surah where Allah talks about this universe expanding. Because when the universe expands to a certain point, the universe is created to collapse. Okay?
وَإِنَّ الدِّينَ لَوَاقِعٌ.
And the day of judgment will occur.
وَالسَّمَاءِ.
And by the sky, meaning the universe and its pathways and its strings. But hubuk literally means strings.
الحبك إنكم لفي قول مختلف يؤفك عنه من أفك قتل الخراصون الذين هم في غمرة ساهون يسألون أيان يوم الدين.
They ask, when is the day of judgment? So this is all when this discussion is wrapped up of the universe with this basic question about the day of judgment. And if the universe is expanding, it's going to come to an end. That's just the nature of things. If something is expanding and comes to an end, it means it has a beginning. Meaning Allah created the universe, it has a beginning. And the universe has an end. Okay?
يوم هم على النار يفتنون ذوقوا فتنتكم هذا الذي كنتم.
Those people that would say, oh, where is this day of judgment? Where is this day of judgment you're promising? Allah is, okay, now taste it. It's here now. You didn't see the universe expanding? You didn't know this universe is going to come to an end? Well, now here it is.
إن المتقين في جنات وعيون آخذين ما آتاهم ربهم إنهم كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين كانوا قليلا من الليل.
If you realize what's happening and how close the angels are seeing the universe come to the point of the day of judgment, you also would not be able to see. You would be in anxiety seeing, oh my God, it's just about to happen. Scary, isn't it? And the universe is expanding, coming to an end point. And Israfil is right there with his horn, ready to blow at any second. Because the Prophet said the day of judgment is so close that his mouth is already over it. It's already like time. It's just that the last few seconds remain. And so while we're playing, the people who see the unseen can't go to sleep because they're in anxiety.
وبالأسحار هم يستغفرون وفي أموالهم حق للسائل والمحروم.
Now these verses are describing the believer who believes it's all going to come to an end and it's real.
وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين.
Signs of Allah.
وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون.
Allah's signs. He's showing you, he's saying the universe is expanding. Do you not see this is the truth?
وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون.
What's the number one thing that keeps people away from thinking of paying attention is where my customers are? That's already decided.
فورب السماء والأرض.
This, I know you guys are not into philosophy, but you know how Descartes said, I am because I think I am?
What?
Problem with Descartes' statement that I think I am is that you don't control your thoughts, they're random. You don't really, like, if your thoughts are random, then you're random. And then that, doesn't add up. But what this ayah is saying is philosophically 100% correct. Right? By the lords of the heavens, وَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ. This is the truth. How do you know this is? What is the example of that truth? مِثْلَ مَا أَنْتُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ, like the way you talk and communicate. The way you use your logic, the way you can use your logic and read signs, the way that is true is the way that this whole universe will be wrapped up is true.
إنه لحق لحق مثل ما أنكم تنطقون.
ये मैच था ना तो मैच देम लिखा हुआ है मैच करना था मैच देम होना चाहिए था.
هل أتاك حديث ضيف إبراهيم.
When the angels came to Ibrahim for the food. So very interesting. It's in this surah. I can't go into the details.
यार अपना जॉब करो जाके काम करो.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Make sure nobody's next to the speaker.
هل أتاك حديث ضيف إبراهيم المكرمين إذ دخلوا عليه فقالوا سلاما قال سلام قوم منكرون فراغ إلى أهله فجاء بعجل سمين.
Remember that? He went, he got the big fat goat and gave it to them, and they didn't eat it because they're angels. They don't eat, right?
فقربه إليهم قال ألا تأكلون فأوجس منهم خيفة قالوا لا تخف وبشروه.
So they gave him the good news of Prophet Ishaq alayhi salatu wasalam. So we're here to give you good news about Ishaq. Now the point is, that same Allah who's causing the universe to expand, and that same universe, that same Allah who shaped the universe, let's say in the form of a trumpet, that same Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that created this universe with strings, when you do dua to him, he can make a person that is old as 110 years old and give them a child. Allah can do anything. Okay, Allah can do anything. The tragedy of human tragedy is, Allah is there and man doesn't pick up his hands.
غلام عليم فأقبلت امرأته في صرة
This is very interesting psychologically. She hit her head. She's like, what is this that I'm hearing? She said, I'm an old woman. How am I going to have a child?
وجهها وقالت عجوز عقيم قالوا كذلك قال ربك إنه هو الحكيم العليم قال فما خطبكم أيها المرسلون قالوا إنا أرسلنا إلى قوم مجرمين لنرسل عليهم حجارة من طين مسومة عند ربك للمسرفين فأخرجنا من كان فيها من المؤمنين فما وجدنا فيها غير بيت من المسلمين وتركنا فيها آية للذين يخافون العذاب الأليم.
One day, if I have time, I will show you this city that the angels destroyed. It still has sulfur in it. You know, sulfur for fire, like you'll see.
وفي موسى إذ أرسلناه إلى فرعون بسلطان مبين فتولى بركنه وقال ساحر أو مجنون فأخذناه وجنوده فنبذناهم في اليم وهو مليم وفي عاد إذ أرسلنا عليهم الريح العقيم ما تذر من شيء أتت عليه إلا جعلته كالرميم وفي ثمود إذ قيل لهم تمتعوا حتى حين فعتوا عن أمر ربهم فأخذتهم الصاعقة وهم ينظرون فما استطاعوا من قيام وما كانوا منتصرين وقوم نوح من قبل إنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين.
Children like Imtiaz starving. She's 2 years old and weighs just.
والسماء بنيناها بأيد وإنا لموسعون.
So that's the sky we created it and we're expanding it. And so that's the verse. I'm just going to end here because I know you're already late for your next class. Surah Dariyat. Surah Dariyat. All right, Ryan, you can come back, please. Yes, you. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan. I hope you enjoyed this. Assalamu alaikum.
Right, was it old?